Hey there! As you can probably tell, we're going to be talking about safety this week. We'll talk about preventing trouble, identifying it, and what to do if some minor things do go wrong while you're spending time outdoors. The first step in being safe outdoors is preparation. We've already talked about packing and picking a campsite. Pretty much any time you prepare to be outdoors, you're also preparing to be safe. Right now, I've got my hat and I'm wearing sunscreen to protect myself from sunburn. I'm wearing bug spray to protect me from ticks and mosquitoes, and I have water with me to keep me hydrated. So I'm ready for my outdoor adventure. The next step in staying safe outdoors is identifying hazards. We already talked about identifying hazards when you're looking for a campsite, but what about if you're just out for a hike or just spending some time outdoors? I like to keep an eye out for plants and bugs that might get a little annoying. For plants, I'm mostly talking about poison ivy. There are two rhymes that can help you identify poison ivy. Leaves of 3 let it be, and hairy vine, no friend of mine. Not every plant with 3 leaves is poison ivy, but when in doubt, just don't touch it. Most bugs will leave you alone if you leave them alone. Mosquitoes might be an exception, depending on if you're wearing bug spray, but mostly they're just annoying. Ticks are a little bit more of a problem, so the best way to avoid ticks, besides wearing bug spray, is to stay on the path and out of areas of lots of vegetation, like tall grass. What if something does happen? Well, just because one thing goes wrong doesn't mean that your whole experience outside is a total failure. If you do touch poison ivy, the first thing to do is don't touch anything else and wash wherever touched it with cold water and soap. This can get the oils off before any itching even begins. If you do start to feel some itching, tell a trusted adult or a doctor. They can get you the right kind of medicine to help that itching go away. There are multiple types of ticks, but though they can be a variety of sizes, they all look pretty similar. If you see a tick crawling on you, you should try and flick it or brush it off away into the woods. Or you can pick it off and crush it between your fingernails or with a tool. If it won't flick or brush off easily, then you should get an adult to use tweezers to pull the tick off of you carefully. Having a tick attached can feel kind of weird, but usually the weird feeling is the biggest problem. Keep track of where it was attached to you and keep an eye on that spot, so that if a rash or something weird looking develops after a few days, you can tell an adult about it right away. What if you do everything right, you prepare correctly, you avoid all the hazards, but then you find yourself separated from your group in an area that you don't know? It can be tempting to freak out, but the best thing to do if you get lost is to stay. Stay calm, stay put, and stay comfortable. So if you're thirsty and you have water, drink some water. If you're hot and there's shade like in your general area, go sit in the shade. But stay where you are. Don't move from that area where you got lost. If you have a phone or some way to contact your group, you can communicate with them that way, or you can just try calling out. Chances are that your group remembers where they saw you last and they've noticed that you're missing, so they'll be able to find you before too long passes. So, now you know a few tips and tricks for staying safe, including what to do if you get lost on a hike. But what about if you're feeling lost in a different kind of way? In Luke chapter 15, Jesus tells a parable about this. Jesus tells a story about a shepherd with 100 sheep who realizes that one of those sheep has gone missing. Jesus says that the shepherd goes out, leaves the other 99, and searches for that sheep until the sheep is found. And Jesus says that just like that shepherd, God searches for us whenever we're feeling emotionally or spiritually lost, and God won't stop until we're found. So my challenge for you this week isn't necessarily to try out one of the tips from earlier in the video, although practicing identifying poison ivy could be pretty useful. Instead, I want you to think about what you do when you're feeling lost, and how you remember to do that thing. Maybe what you do is say a special prayer, or spend some time outdoors, or read a certain part of the Bible. Whatever it is, I want you to think about it, and I want you to make a sign that tells you what to do and reminds you when to do it. And the most important thing to remember is this: when we're feeling lost, God is seeking for us, and God won't stop until we're found. Don't forget, we would love to see the things that you come up with in response to our challenges. So send a picture of this sign or graphic that you come up with to the email on the screen. See you next week!